Okay, perfect. In that case, let's go ahead and get started. So hello, welcome to this class. Thank you for coming along. Really appreciate you being here. My name is Laura Karpinski. I am your teacher for this class. I'm also the CEO of Eve University. And this class is all about getting you outside Eve University. So that's what this class is about. Might sound like it's a bit of a contradiction for the CEO of Eve Uni to be talking to you guys about the rest of the game, but that's kind of what we're here for. We're here to prepare you for the rest of the game, so let's be doing that. So this class is called Outside the Bubble. Yes, everyone get out, exactly. So just to keep everything running nice and smoothly for this class, if you're listening to me on Discord, can you please make sure you have your microphone set to push to talk or mute yourself? If you have any questions, there is a text channel in Discord. So if you click on the name of the voice channel in Discord, one of the options is a little speech bubble, and that will take you through to a text channel, and you can ask all your questions in there. But I'm also streaming this class on Twitch. Let me just give you the link for that a second if you're in Discord. So yeah, if you want to watch the class on Twitch, you can also do that. So just be aware that we're streaming on Twitch. So if you are someone that doesn't want your voice to be on Twitch, then just ask questions in chat instead, and I'll read them out. So this class is being recorded because it's on Twitch, so it automatically records it, and I will publish the class to YouTube afterwards. There isn't any practical element for this class, so just stay safe. Docked up is normally preferred, but I'm not the space police. I don't really care. Just if you get yourself blown up because you're too busy watching Twitch, then yeah, it's your own fault. And please link your kill mail so I can laugh at you. Thank you kindly. So these are the things I'm going to talk about over the course of this class. First of all, we're going to talk about CCP's official channels and how you can engage with the developers of the game. Then we're going to talk about some community-made content. Then we're going to talk about the CSM, the Council for Stellar Management, and what they do. We're going to talk about some community hubs, that is places where you can meet other people outside of Eve Uni. We're going to talk about public content and NPSI, which is Not Purple Shoot It. I'll talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about alts and other corporations. We're going to talk about our alumni network, that is our ex-members who are still part of our community. We're going to talk about player meetups, and then we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to give you some homework at the end. So this is one of the few classes that actually has homework. Hi Hafiz, thanks for joining us on Twitch. So, official channels, first of all, let's start there. So, first of all, who is CCP? I have said CCP's official channels. Who is CCP? So CCP is Crowd Control Productions. They are a game developer based in Reykjavik in Iceland, and their main product, and basically kind of their only product, is EVE Online. They have got a dedicated community development team, and their job is to interact with players. And compared to a lot of game studios, you'll find that CCP are really pretty active and pretty visible in the community, which is a really nice change, to be honest. Hey Resco, thanks for joining us. So how can you interact with CCP and find out what's going on from CCP? So they release dev blogs regularly. And this is CCP's main way of announcing like new features and balance changes and changes to the game, like events and stuff like that. And over the past few years, they have made it a lot easier for them to read. So they are now written in plain English with much less technical jargon than they did in the past. So they're hopefully understandable even for pretty new players. You can read through the dev blogs and kind of understand what's going on with it. So dev blogs are always worth reading if they pop up on your launcher. So if you see on the launcher, there's a little bit to the side that has a load of articles and stuff. And if you see a dev blog on the launcher, always try and get in the habit of having a look at it because they're really useful. And yeah, that's a good place to understand not just what changed, but also why changes are happening, because they kind of tend to explain that kind of stuff. So yeah, dev blogs are always good to read. And then we have the Community Beat. Now, I love the Community Beat. The Community Beat basically is EVE community news. So it's telling you stuff that's going on from members of the community. So it's telling you about, you know, oh, this group is doing this cool thing, there's this event going on, and this person's made, you know, this stuff in real life and things like that. Like, it's telling you about stuff that players are doing rather than what CCP are doing. So it's always a good read, and it's worth having a look at because you find out about really cool things. Like, for example, Stay Frosty do a frigate free-for-all every year, and you can read about that in the Community Beat. And there's charity streams, there's people making like really cool like 3D models of EVE ships and stuff like that. There's always loads of stuff going on that is good to read about in the Community Beat. So if you see a Community Beat pop up, then do have a read over it, because there's so much cool stuff going on. There's so many EVE players doing some really cool shit. Oryx says, my first tie-dye and PvP was the Frigate FFA. Thanks, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Frigate FFA is always really good. It's always really good fun. Run by Stay Frosty. They give out loads of free ships, so you can. It's just happened. It happened like last month, so you have to wait like another 11 months for it, unfortunately. But when you do go along, they give out thousands of free ships, and you can just dock up, grab a ship, go out and shoot people. It's lots of fun. Yeah, Hafiz says tournament and arenas as well. Yeah, so you can read about all the tournaments that are going on, like the Anger Games, which is going on at the moment. So all of that kind of stuff you can read about in the Community Beat. So when you open the EVE launcher, like I said, there's like a news section, which links to a load of articles on the website. And it's good to get into the habit of just having a quick glance over the launcher. Sometimes we can kind of tone it out and just see the launcher as just the way to get into EVE, but it's got some cool stuff on it as well. So have a look and see what's going on. If there's patch notes, that's going to explain what's happened in the last update. And like I said, recently CCP have started adding like extra explanations in italics, so you can make sense of what the patch notes actually mean, like why they're making various changes, which is really helpful for new players. And then also CCP is active on social media as well. So they have a Twitch channel, which is really good. They have live streams and Q&As and fleets where the developers go out together in a group and they go out and do some PvP. And so you can literally hunt CCP devs in space, which is pretty awesome. So do follow CCP's Twitch. Let me just link that for you. I'm assuming you guys in Twitch know CCP's Twitch, but I will link it for you anyway, because sharing is caring, you know. They're also active on X. I don't have an X account, so I can't link to that, but they're also active on X as well if you are active there. They have an Instagram account, which I didn't realize until recently when I was browsing through Instagram, and I suddenly got like these EVE adverts. I was like, what? Apparently they have an Instagram, if you want to look at EVE on Instagram. Hafiz says some people do free Titan kills. Yes, absolutely. The few Titan kills that I've got on are pretty much community members deciding to sacrifice a Titan. I'm not sure if I've ever got on any Titans that are actually genuine PvP, but there we go. Thanks. Steam has linked the CCP X. Just cross-post that to Twitch. Hafiz says CCP sometimes do it too. Yes, yeah. They used to do a thing. I don't know if do they still do it, where they launch confiscated assets out for people to destroy. That was pretty awesome. Like when people have been, I don't know, like botting and, you know, doing naughty things and have assets that have been confiscated, they used to just like launch them into HiSec for people to shoot them, which was always pretty hilarious. We have the CCP Instagram. Amazing. Thank you, Steam. Oh, that's a shame that they stopped doing that. It was pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, I miss them. Yeah, me too. Okay, so next let's talk about the CSM. So what is the CSM? So the CSM is the Council for Stellar Management, or Council of Stellar Management, I should say. So this is a group of players. They are people who are elected by the community. Well, most of them are elected by the community. 2 of them are picked by CCP. So they're a group of players who basically act kind of like a focus group. So they act as a bridge between the player base and CCP. So they sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and that means that they can go along to the meetings with CCP, most of them online, some of them in person. So they do actually fly over to Iceland, which this year's CSM has already been to Iceland. And they have meetings about what's going on, so what's going to happen in EVE in the next year, sometimes a little bit further. So they get early visibility of plans and they get to give feedback directly to the developers. So this is a really good thing. It's a really good bridge between the players who are actually playing the game and the developers. So where we're at the moment, we have CSM 20 and the CSM is now in place. They have had their first meeting in Iceland. They've had multiple other meetings online, and this is where the real work is happening. So meetings are going on, feedback is being given, discussions are being discussed. And why does this matter? So it matters because the CSM means that they can raise player concerns about things like, UI changes, balance changes, faction warfare, industry, new player experience, whatever their kind of specialist area is, they can raise concerns about things like that. So it's important to note they do not make final decisions. So they are not the person who is deciding, they're not the people who are deciding what is going to happen in EVE, okay? They get to influence CCP's priorities and how changes are shaped by giving feedback. So yeah, that is their role. They're kind of like a focus group. But it's very important, I think, that we have people who are putting across the player opinions to CCP. There has been some criticism of the CSM, of course. The voting system has changed over time, but even with the current voting system, it tends to be that most CSM members do tend to come from the large nullsec blocks because they are the people who can organise thousands of votes. If you can get thousands of your friends to vote for one person, then chances are that person is probably going to get on the CSM. But that can mean that like smaller groups, different play styles like wormholes and faction warfare and newer players can often be underrepresented on the CSM, which means that it's even more important, in my opinion, to engage with the CSM to give over your opinions on stuff. So it means that their outreach beyond nullsec is really important, especially important. Blue Grey says Mike Azario was robbed. Yeah, we love Mike. Mike is the guy who runs the Magic School Bus. He goes around new player systems and gives out ships to new players, and he's basically a tireless advocate for new players. So he's, for you new players who are listening in EVE Uni, Mike, not you, Mike. Other Mike, the good one, yeah. The patron saint of new bros, Blue says, yeah, absolutely. Mike is a really nice guy, really good to talk to because he's a big advocate for new players. And Resco says Young Puke 2 is great for faction warfare. Yes, Young Puke has come along and given a talk to EVE Uni before as well. He's come along and done a bit of a town hall for us where he's talked to our guys who are living in the low-sec community doing faction warfare to come to talk to new players and get their feedback on how the faction warfare system is working and so that he can feed back to CCP. So that's really good to see. As Blue Grey says, he's got lots of great links in his bio. That's Mike, I think, Mike Azaria. Also, we have our lovely new player experience specialist, as it were, who is Kushal Adron. Kushal is the CEO of EVE Rookies, and Kushal comes along to EVE Uni every month to run a monthly town hall where she comes along and explains what is broadly going on in the CSM, takes new player feedback on stuff like the last time she came along, which was a couple of weeks ago. We talked about Exordium, the new player area, and new players obviously had a lot of feedback, which she then listened to and will take back to CCP. So please do come along. If you're a new player, please do come along to Kushal's monthly town halls. I don't think the next one is up in the calendar yet, but I'll put it up soon. They're really good. They're really good. She's really nice, and you can just tell her what you think. Even if you're a super new player, your view is still really important because you're giving a perspective that a lot of more experienced players don't have anymore. Like talking about like the new player experience and the starter missions and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of more experienced players, they can't remember doing any of that stuff. They can't remember how difficult it is when you need to train to get into absolutely everything. So you're facing challenges that a lot of people have forgotten. So your opinion is still really important. So even if you didn't vote in the CSM, even if you didn't vote in the last CSM, which happened in about October kind of time, the CSM still affects the game that you're playing. So it's really important for you to go along to like town halls and feedback to the CSM, be talking to them, giving your opinion, because that is how the community can feed back to the developers of EVE. There's a link there to show you who is on the CSM. So that's who's on this year's CSM. Bear in mind they do change every year, so there will be another CSM coming up, but that is who you need to talk to at the moment. Okay, next let's move on to community-made content. This is a massive area. So community-made content, there are loads of different places where you can find people creating content about EVE. Some big ones, some obvious ones are YouTube. So YouTube has got a huge range of videos on EVE. It's got tutorials, people recording battles, it's got people explaining lore, loads of different stuff on YouTube. Recon says, I gotta drop out. I think my kitty jumped behind the dryer again. Oh, poor kitty. Recon's gone to rescue his kitty. That's a good excuse. That's a good excuse. So with YouTube, there are so many different YouTube videos to choose from, YouTube creators to choose from. Be careful. Some creators do chase views with clickbait titles. If you see a title that's like make $1 billion in a day or something like that, just think, is it realistic? Is it exaggerated for clicks? Is it realistic for new players? Just use your common sense about which YouTube videos you decide to watch. Just sanity check advice before you're starting on it. Hafiz says, lies, this, EVE University Wiki, is the best community site. Thank you kindly. Resco, with enough tunes, anything is possible. Spinny, we all know who you mean. I have no idea what you're talking about, Spinny. So, yeah, YouTube videos. There's so many different YouTube videos out there. Just sanity check what you're thinking about, what you're looking at. Look out for ones that are reliable and beginner friendly. So does anyone have any YouTubers that they'd recommend? Who do you guys like to watch on YouTube? Who's your favourite EVE YouTube creators? Okay, Resco says Loru, Oz Eve, Crash Naps. Spinny says, I like the streamers. For burners, Risty or Dangerous. Gondor suggests Cade plays games. My husband likes him. Rid suggests Loru as well. I like Gildy or Scent. I've been watching them a little bit recently. Orbelek suggests Ashtarothi. Mike says, your roommate, or at least our husband. Rude. You can't take him, he's mine. Blue Grey says, Gildy is amazing. Rid says, Risty and Dangerous. Spinny, Faction Warfare, I like Magical Geek or Corvus. Blue Grey, Ash is great, but very long form. Wish he made clips. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so loads of good suggestions there. Oh, Auric has got some more. Jurious Doctor, Hate Less Gaming, Asherothi, Aceface. Resco says, that guy toxic for PvP. Awesome. Loads of suggestions. So for you people who are saying, oh my god, I didn't realise there were so many YouTube creators, be writing down some of these names. Be writing down these names and check them out. Some of them you're going to meld with and really enjoy. Some of them you're just going to watch for 2 minutes and then go, ugh, no. So check out lots of them. Oh, we have some more. Rid says, Magical Geek is my cult leader, fun to watch. Sign suggests Gustav Manfred. Hafiz suggests Chris07 and Chlorokin. Oh, another recommendation for Chlorokin by Orbelek. Loads of suggestions, love it. So, that is loads of suggestions for YouTubers. We've kind of merged into Twitch streamers as well there. So, again, if you have any Twitch streamers that you'd recommend, then please let me know. Shang has said Oz, Captain Benzie. Laura again. Hafiz says Chlorokin is amazing if you want to try wormholes. Mazek suggests Amelia Duskspace for the PvP inclined. So yeah, this is kind of a mix between YouTubers and Twitch streamers. Sign suggests Orion SA Solo for Faction Warfare PvP. Blue Grey says Spongy John has great music. Loves some music. It's not enough music in Eve, is there? Ulrich iBeast for the RU community. Okay, so Twitch is also really useful because on Twitch you can watch players playing live. So you can watch them doing, like PvP roams and just like mining, casual play, that kind of thing. So you can just watch people playing the game. And including mistakes, which I think is always really important because a lot of the time in YouTube videos, they cut out the bits where they fuck up, they just show the bits where they're doing amazing. But I think it's important for you to see other people making mistakes because nobody's perfect and everybody presses the wrong button and everyone does something stupid. So that's what I quite like about Twitch. You get to see like the unfiltered version as well. And also a lot of streamers, they answer questions live in chat, so you can be watching what they're doing and then you can be asking them like, why did you do that? What fit are you using? That kind of thing. And they can answer your questions while they're playing. So that's always really good. Resco suggests Amory Brit stream is great if you guys like watching Faction Warfare and watching iRed blow stuff up. I love an explosion. Explosions are the prettiest thing in Eve, aren't they? Love watching explosions. So also, as well as YouTube and Twitch, there are also Eve podcasts. There are far fewer than there used to be, unfortunately, but there are still some Eve podcasts out there. So if you like podcasts, if you maybe have like a morning commute or something like that, and you want to listen to some Eve stuff, there are some Eve podcasts out there. There are podcasts that do news, debates, interviews, all of that kind of thing. Does anyone have any podcast recommendations? A couple I would suggest. The Oz Report is always really good for talking about markets and industry and that kind of thing. Untethered, they talk about PvP and like community discussion and that kind of thing. Declarations of War, we kind of have to recommend because one of the presenters, or until recently, one of the presenters was an ex-uni member. So yes, Declarations of War, they talk about like politics and like long form analysis of stuff. So they're kind of just good background listening if you're just like I said, commuting or mining, doing chores, that kind of thing. Just stick on Eve podcast and listen to what's going on. Also, I didn't link our YouTube. Eve University has a YouTube as well. Yes, promotion, self-promotion. We love it. She says the scope, yeah. Rescobon, Oz Report is awesome. Akami Tea Time for CCP News. Blue Grey says Mike Azaria has a fantastic weekly digest, always under 10 minutes. Natural teacher and storyteller. Love that. He calls it Eve News, Weather and Sports. Okay, perfect. Love all these suggestions. I'll try and put some of these suggestions together in a link, and I'll probably put them in the description of the video so you guys can find them easily. Oh, Resco has suggested Warlock Industries. Yeah, we forgot to talk about Warlock Industries, 100%. So Warlock Industries, Eve News in a TV format. Yes. What is he says about his videos? Cinematic videos, and I can't remember what he says at the beginning. Something about occasionally accurate reporting. Cinematic and semi-accurate reporting. Yeah, there we go. Stula says, thing to remember about some of these news sites is there can be bias and inaccuracies, especially when certain narratives are being pushed. Really good point. Thank you for saying that. Yes. So always remember, nobody is coming to Eve neutral as much as they might claim to be. So think about, who is this person? what are they trying to tell, what story they're trying to tell here, why are they making this video, or why are they streaming this. Don't take everything that's online as gospel. So yeah, just be careful. Think about what the bias and the inaccuracies are. Gondor says, not a podcast, but this has a few good tips, and has linked Kismeteer's wiki. Yeah, we love Kismeteer's wiki. Let me just cross-post that to Twitch. Kismeteer is another person who's really focused on new players. He's been playing EVE for years, and all of that time has been helping new players. So yeah, he's really good for the new players, the newer players who don't really understand what's going on. His wiki is really good for that as well. Let's move on to community hubs. Let's talk about community hubs, which I've kind of lumped together as places where you can meet other people. So first of all, there is the official EVE Discord. EVE has a Discord. Let me just link that. So this is run by CCP. This is an open server, so anyone can join. There are some authentication steps you need to go through to be able to post certain stuff, like I think links and stuff like that, but anybody can join. This includes, there's new player channels there's general discussion channels, there's a load of stuff on there where you can ask people questions and all of that kind of thing. So do check out the EVE Discord. It's a good one to have as one of your like regular Discords that you check. There's also, EVE has a forum. Let me just link the forum. Forum is kind of like the oldest official hub, I think, and it's used for stuff like announcements and feedback and like longer form guides. So it's good at archive knowledge. So if there is a dev blog, there's normally a forum post as well where you can discuss it. So it's quite useful for like longer form discussions. Resco says, when will EVE Uni move back to Syndicate? We miss you guys down there. Yeah, we miss you as well. We moved out of Syndicate a couple of years ago. Basically, we were subjected to a really long campaign of attrition because they just wanted us out, and eventually it was just not fun anymore living down there. So yeah, we withdrew. But it's a bit of a shame we don't have a nullsec community at the moment, because we do have a lot of bloodthirsty newer players who like to murder stuff. So at the moment we're mostly just doing that on roams. We're just doing roams and stuff like that. Dr. BG said lore. Yes, let me cross-post that to the Uni Discord. Okay, so as well as the forums, we have Reddit, and this is where people go, no, don't send the new players to Reddit. What are you doing? So, Reddit is extremely active, the EVE Reddit. It is also mostly a cesspit of drama, so bear that in mind. It is good for entertainment. It is good for memes. It's sometimes good for following major developments that are going on places, but don't rely on it for accurate information, please. Just because something is posted on Reddit does not mean it's true. In fact, if it's posted on Reddit, chances are it's probably not true. But it's for memes and trolling only, as Resco has said. Absolutely, yes. It's good for a bit of entertainment. I like just having a look through the EVE Reddit sometimes and just see the meltdowns and the memes, and yeah, it's don't rely on it for accurate information, please, but you can use it for entertainment, absolutely. Okay, and then other Discords. So there's loads of different Discords in Eve, loads of public groups and niche communities. They have their own Discord servers. Eve University, in our Discord server, we have a channel where we share like trusted Discord links. Let me just link that a second for the people in Discord, if I can find it. There we go. That is for the people who are in Uni Discord. That is our Discord channel, which contains a link of other Discords. So you'll find loads of different Discords in there. They're all set into categories. So you can find Discords for NPSI groups, for different niche areas, for development stuff like tech Discords and all that kind of thing. Loads of Eve Discords. So do check them out. And if you know of any Discords that you use often that you think should be linked in the Eve University Discord list, then please do send them to me and I will get them added to the list. Okay, next let us talk about public content and NPSI. So NPSI means not purple, shoot it. What that means is when you are in a fleet with someone, they are purple. So you will see them on your overview as purple and in local as purple. And for the duration of the fleet, you are all on the same side. So everybody who is purple is on the same side. You're all buddies. Doesn't matter what corporation you come from, what alliance, what allegiances you have. For the duration of that fleet, you are all on the same side. So you are going out to shoot everybody else. So you are going out to shoot everyone who's not purple. So not purple, shoot it. And there are loads of different NPSI groups and NPSI fleets that you can go out on. And it's a great way to meet people across Eve and to fly with some really experienced FCs, some really experienced scouts, try content that you might not do as a member of Eve University. And Eve Uni members are not just allowed to go on NPSI fleets, but positively encouraged to go on NPSI fleets. I think they're really good. They are one of my favourite types of content, to be honest. I love going on NPSI fleets. For uni members, please bear in mind that even if you go on an NPSI fleet, our rules of engagement still apply. So if just because you're on an NPSI fleet, you are not allowed to shoot uni members without their permission, and you are not allowed to shoot blues. But we have very, very few blues. We have vanishing few blues, basically uni member alts, a few uni member alts. So it's not generally a problem that you're going to run into. But if you do run into a uni member or a blue, then do not shoot them. Just let the fleet shoot them and just don't shoot yourself. That's fine. And the FC won't be mad at that. It's fine. That's a fairly common thing on NPSI fleets, that people have people that they can't shoot. So just don't shoot them. Yeah, and Oryx says, and structures, right? Yeah, absolutely. So generally, NPSI fleets, in my experience anyway, don't tend to go out shooting structures because it's not a super engaging form of content, really. But if you are on an NPSI fleet and they go out and shoot structures, just don't shoot them. So popular NPSI groups. We've already had 2 recommendations in Twitch chat for Bombers Bar. Yes, we love Bombers Bar. So Bombers Bar is a group that specialise in flying bombing ships. So they fly stealth bombers, and the way that stealth bombing fleets work is basically you sit together cloaked, so you are invisible. And then you have the hunters who are going out to find some nice juicy targets for the fleet to kill. Normally bigger targets. They go for quite big stuff, Bombers Bar. They go for like, capital ships, the big stuff. And then when they find something, they use something called a Cyno, which allows the fleet to jump to them, like directly to them. And then so you will suddenly be launched onto a ship, you will all shoot it, and then you will run away giggling and cloak up. So it's very different from a lot of PvP content you'll be used to, because you're going to be sitting around waiting for quite a while, and then you're just going to be like, okay, go, 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 boom, 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 and big explosion, and then run away giggling into the night. But it's super fun. You can, if you like kill board stats, Bomber's Bar will make your kill board look amazing. And they're really fun, they're really welcoming. Even if you are not used to doing bombing fleets, you just look at their videos beforehand and work out broadly what you want to do, and then go along and enjoy it. Some other MPSI communities that are super fun, there is Spectre Fleet. They run lots of fleets. There's also also one of the Spectre Fleet FCs, Vex, has recently started his own MPSI group, which is Unlisted. So also Unlisted, which is previously they run kind of similar stuff to Spectre Fleet, but it's now Vex doing his own separate thing, which is always super fun. Fun Inc., they run shrink-wrapped fleets twice a week. They're always fun. They are speedy boys in Raptors who just go really fast fleets and just go out to obliterate stuff. That's with Kyakti. They're always really good. eRookies, they are an MPSI group aimed at new players. So they do both PvP fleets, which they tend to do, I think they do them every other Wednesday, a PvP fleet, but they also do PvE fleets as well. So they do lots of incursions, for example, they do mission fleets and all that kind of stuff, which open their public fleets. So you can go along and play with them, even if you're not doing PvP. And we've had some recommendations. So looking through the chat, Doctor has linked the MPSI calendar. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. And Auric has also linked the MPSI calendar. Like, amazing. So Resco says 4D does a Wolfpack fleet on Wednesday in the Caldari faction warfare zone. Trix is a great FC, new bro friendly. That's really good to know. I really like Riftwatch. They do control slide delete fleets, which are currently, they've been doing them around the Amamaki kind of area, like on the Minmatar Amar faction warfare zone, but they tend to do them with the last two that I've been on. They've been unenlisted, so it means that you can shoot anything, but also you're going to destroy your sex status, so be prepared to buy some tags afterwards. But they're always super fun. Nazeth has said WHPD is quite a lot of fun. I haven't been on one of their fleets. I was talking to someone from WHPD the other day, and I've never been on their fleets before. I need to go and I need to make one of their fleets. I think they tend to do them on Sundays, don't they? Like EU time zone evenings. So I need to go and check out those. Mazik has linked, of course, Overclocker MPSI, says we prefer at least a bit of PvP experience before jumping into our content, but it's a great place to be a fly on the wall and ask questions and get feedback on PvP. Also, in the Overclocker MPSI Discord, they do things like video reviews. So I've seen in there people post like videos of themselves doing PvP and asking for feedback. So that's always good because you can learn both from like yourself, you can post your own videos, but then you can also just watch other people doing PvP and read what suggestions people are making, which can only make you a better EVE player, can't it? Let me just cross post that to Twitch a sec. So yeah, there's loads of different NPSI groups out there, and there's going to be one that you jam with. So go and try them out. Have a look at the MPSI calendar that has been linked before, MPSI Rocks, and you will see a load of MPSI stuff that's going on. So check it out. Also in the Eve Uni server, there is an NPSI channel as well, where you can talk about NPSI fleets and ask questions about them. Let me just post that for the people in Uni Discord. You'll see there was the recent posts in there are about a shrink wrap fleet that me and Diablos went on last night, where we killed 170 ships in one fleet, which was pretty amazing, even for shrink wrapped. It was a target-rich environment, let's say. So for NPSI fleets, anyone can join. Just read up on the information that's in the NPSI calendar or wherever you're seeing the information about the fleet, and then just make sure you've got the right ship. Just follow FC orders and yeah, go and have some fun. I love NPSI, if you can't tell. Okay, next, and this one is really aimed at the people in Eve University. So, alts. So, Eve University allows you to have alts in other corporations. That is absolutely fine. You can have one character in uni and you can use another character to try different areas of space. We don't even require your character in Eve Uni to be your main character. It's absolutely fine to stick an alt in Eve Uni and use your main for other stuff. I think that's quite a good thing to do, actually, to be honest, because different corporations mean that you're getting experience of different cultures, you're experiencing different stuff, you're training different things, like different skills and stuff like that, and you get to experience stuff that you wouldn't necessarily experience in Eve Uni. So, for example, Eve Uni doesn't have a wormhole community anymore. So if you want to do wormholes, get your alt into a wormhole group and go and join a wormhole group and learn what it's like living in wormholes. We also don't have a community living in nullsec anymore, so go and stick another character in a nullsec group and try it out. So yeah, you can, from our point of view, you can absolutely join other groups with other characters. We have no problem with that at all. Now, bear in mind, some other groups will have an issue with that. So a lot of other corporations, they have requirements on where they want your alt characters to be. Some of them will say, all of your alts must be in our corporation. We don't want your alts in any other corporation. Some of them will say they have restrictions on where you can put your alts. Some of them will be okay with you having an alt in Eve Uni, some of them won't. So from our point of view, absolutely fine, have a character wherever you want. From their point of view, just check if they're okay with you having a character in the uni. But from our point of view, we are absolutely fine with it. And a lot of Eve Uni's best alumni have stepped outside the bubble. They have stepped outside and they have got characters in other corporations. I think actually quite a few of our directors have characters in other corporations. So it's totally fine and it's totally allowed. The only thing that I would say is, and it kind of goes without saying, please don't use your access to Eve University to harm our members. So don't use the fact that you have an alt in Eve Uni to hunt Eve Uni members, because that's just not cool. Like, you don't need to do that. We're just a group of new players. You don't need to have your alt to get content. But aside from that, that's fine. Just do whatever you want. Just don't use your access to Eve Uni to harm Eve Uni or our members. Just remember that exploring the game outside of Eve Uni is growing. It's not bad. It's a good thing. Eve Uni is intended to be here as part of your journey, but it's not intended to be the whole journey. So don't treat it like that. Feel free to go and explore outside Eve Uni, and it's going to make you a better player. Speaking of which, let's talk about our alumni network. So we have a massive alumni network. We have thousands of ex-players who we term alumni. So basically, we have a really high turnover of players, which is intentional. It's not because we're bad, it's because it's intentional, okay? We are aimed at the new player experience. So the idea is you join Eve Uni, you learn what you need to do, you hopefully help and teach and pass on that knowledge to other people, and then you leave and you go on elsewhere. It's only intended to be a temporary home for most people, which means that we have a network of thousands, literally thousands of people, tens of thousands of people who are ex-uni members and have now gone on to join other groups. And that is really good because it means that we have a lot of ex-members who remember uni fondly, and sometimes they want to give back. They want to come back and answer questions. Sometimes they will come back and do classes or run fleets. Sometimes they'll just hang out in our Discord. You see the people in the Discord with red names, like Mikey in our current chat. They are ex-members who have decided for whatever reason that they want to stick around, and we welcome them. So yeah, so that is really good for us because it means we have access to all these now really experienced people. But also it's good for you because it means that you have this network of people that maybe you don't even know, but you've already got something in common. So you have people, there's an alumni channel in our Discord. Let me link that. So that's the alumni channel in our Discord, and you will find in there a load of people who are in other corporations and other groups. So if you want the tea on what is going on somewhere, you can ask in that alumni channel, and probably someone has an idea of what's going on somewhere. If you want to say, hey, I'm interested in joining this particular group, does anyone have the gossip about it? Then there's going to be someone in the alumni channel who can help you out. So it's really good for you as well, because it means you have all these contacts, kind of like a real university, you know, you have like the ex-members. So yeah, it's really good. And like I said on the slide, networks last longer than corporations. A lot of people go together in a group from Eve Uni, they will leave and they will join together, and then they will, you know, move on to a different corporation and they will join as friends going around in different corporations. So yeah, that's a really nice thing. So keep those connections, keep them strong. So Eve Uni isn't just a corp, it's a lifelong network. Oh, warm fuzzies. Okay, next, and finally, in fact, let's talk about player meetups. So in case you haven't noticed, there are real people behind the keyboards. Behind these ships and behind these explosions, there are real, actual, genuine people. And you can meet them. You can meet these people in person. So coming up in literally a couple of weeks' time is a FanFest, which is an annual event which is held in Reykjavik, Iceland, which is held by CCP, the game developers, and it's like their flagship annual event. And the whole city gets involved. Literally, I've been to FanFest twice. I'm going again in a couple of weeks' time, and it's brilliant. It's so good. The whole city gets involved. There are bars offering, you know, like special discounts and all of this kind of thing. One year when I went to a pharmacy because I had a headache, and I went to get some painkillers, and I was talking to the pharmacist, and he noticed like my lanyard, my FanFest lanyard, and he was like, "Oh, hi, you're here for FanFest. My brother works for CCP," and then just like started this whole conversation about Eve and CCP with a pharmacist, which was just really like, it was a bit of a head fuck, to be honest, because it's like Eve is real life. It was really bizarre, but also really awesome. It was so good. And through going to FanFest, you get to socialise with people that you would normally fight. You're just like having a drink in a bar, you talk to the person next to you, turns out you've blown them up before, or they've blown you up before, or, you know, they've got a group that you might want to join. Like, you know, you can just talk with these actual people. And it's really good because immediately you have something in common with them. Like the stranger in the bar next to you, you immediately have something in common with them straight away. You can talk about Eve with them. So it's just really good. It's just really social and really nice. And I often tell the story. One year, I think it was the first year that I went to FanFest, I was talking with, so we had a group who Eve Uni was kind of frenemies with, who was called RVB, Red versus Blue. And they were an alliance where they had two corporations who were just constantly fighting each other, was the idea of RVB. Like Red was always fighting Blue. And every now and then they would team up and join Team Purple, and they would go off and fight someone else. And often the people they would fight would be Eve Uni, because we were also a bunch of new players and we have teeth and we like to fight people. So they would come and declare war on Eve Uni. And we would have a bit of a scrap, and we'd always kind of end it on pretty friendly terms, and everyone would have a good time. And I met the CEO of RVB at FanFest. I was having a chat with him. He was a lovely guy. Later on in the day, he came up to me, saw me across the room. He came up to me and he said, I've just war decked Eve Uni. And I was like, oh, right, okay. Why? And he said, give the members something to do while I'm gone. So that is the first time I've ever been war decked in person. It was hilarious. And yeah, just super chill, super nice guy. It was it was really good. So like I said, I've been twice. I'm going again in a couple of weeks. I would highly recommend it if you can get to Iceland. If you can't come this year, have a look at next year. Tickets are normally released while FanFest is going on for the next year. So tickets will be released for 2027 in a couple of weeks' time. So keep an eye out for it. It is expensive. Iceland is expensive. Flights there tend to be quite expensive. Accommodation is quite expensive. Food is ridiculously expensive. But if you just go for a short time, like this year, I'm going Wednesday through Sunday. I'm just going for a few days, and it's totally worth it. It's really good if you can possibly go. But I know that for some people, Iceland is not feasible. Iceland is a long way away from a lot of people. So Iceland itself may not be feasible, but there are lots of Eve meets that are happening worldwide. So if you have a look in the Eve Discord that I linked earlier, then there is a channel for real life meetups where they post where real life meetups are going on. They will post information about real life meetups and that kind of thing. So keep an eye on that channel. If you want to go and meet Eve nerds in person, keep an eye on that channel. Please do go along to a real life meetup because they're so good. Like I said, you've immediately got something in common with people. And don't be worried about going on your own, because most people who are going, they are going to be going on their own. So you will meet people there, and it's just really nice. I love it. I love going to Eve meetups. I've been to Eve Glasgow, I've been to Eve London, I've been to, so Eve Uni has meetups as well. We've had meetups every now and then. I've been to two Eve Uni meetups in London, one in Edinburgh, one in Brighton. So yeah, mostly UK because I'm in the UK. So that's why I've been to mostly UK ones. But we have also had an Eve Uni meetup in Vegas before. And if you guys are listening and you want to do an Eve Uni meetup, then just do it. Just if you need help, let me know, because I've organised a couple of Eve London ones and I organised Eve Brighton, so Eve Uni Brighton. So yeah, just drop me a line. I'm always happy to talk to people that want to meet up with other players. So I can give you some tips and some advice and stuff like that. Resco says, I wish they'd bring back Eve Vegas. Yeah, absolutely. Eve Vegas. I've had so many stories about Eve Vegas. Never been myself. But yeah, it's yeah. So has anyone been to FanFest or another Eve meetup, meeting up with other people? what was your experience? How was it? Resco says, oh man, Vegas is on another level. And also, is anyone going to FanFest in a couple of weeks' time? Because if you are, I want to meet you. Also, I've just met so many lovely uni members at meetups and stuff. I remember the second time I went to FanFest, so the first time I went with my husband, the second time I went on my own, and I went on my own, and I was a little bit nervous because I was on my own, didn't really know who I was going to be seeing and stuff, and I got a message from Seamus Donahue, and he said, I've got your like bag. You have like a bag of like goodies and stuff when you check in. He said, I've got your bag of stuff. Shall I come and meet you? And him and Raven came to my hotel and met me in the lobby, and we just had massive hugs, and it was just so nice. It's just so nice to like put faces to names that you've heard for like years, and then just actually meeting someone in person. It's just so nice. It's really cool. Okay, so hey Priya, thanks for joining us. So, wrap up. We have reached the end of our class. So, let's talk about your homework. So, in summary of this class, there is a huge Eve community out there. There are so many different ways that you can go outside this Eve uni bubble and connect to the Eve community. So, what you should do is just pick something that excites you. Pick one of these things that we've talked about that excites you, and just go along and do it. And that's your homework for this class, okay? So normally classes don't have homework. This one does. So this week, I would like you guys to do one of the following. This applies to Eve Uni members, but if you're listening on Twitch, feel free to do them anyway. Try and do one of these things. So read a dev blog, try an NPS iFleet, join an Eve Discord that you're not in already, watch an Eve YouTube video, or an Eve Uni YouTube video, listen to a podcast you haven't tried before. Just do one of these things to try and broaden your horizons and look outside of Eve Uni, because there's a big old game out there, okay? And like I said in the announcement for this class, Eve Uni is just a teeny tiny part of that game. So what I don't want you guys to do is just have blinkers on and just see Eve Uni as the whole game. Because if you're only looking at Eve Uni, you're missing out on a whole load of other stuff. So do one of these things this week. Please post in Discord. Let me know what you did, how you found it, any recommendations. If you find a YouTuber or a streamer that we didn't talk about that you really liked, then please do let us know. Try and do one of those things this week and try and broaden your horizons. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Really appreciate you being here. I'm going to post a feedback form for the people in Uni Discord. I would really like your feedback on this class. How did you find it? Was it useful? Did you learn some useful stuff? And what are you going to do? Let me just post that feedback form a sec. There we go. Feedback form is posted. Resco, is the Discord friendly to people that aren't in Eve Uni? Yes, absolutely. Let me post you a link to how you can get connected to that. There we go. That's how you can connect to Eve University services as a guest. We just ask for literally public scopes, so just your name, and then you can join our Discord. That link is just really to keep bots out, because otherwise we get a shitload of bots. So, but it's public, anyone can join, and most of the channels in there are open to everyone. So you can chat with us and attend our classes, and yeah, just speak to a load of newbies. We love the newbies. And that is it from me, guys. So I will upload this video from Twitch to the YouTube and cross-post it in the uni Discord so you guys can watch it. For those listening on Twitch, if you check out the video on Twitch and also check it out on the YouTube once I've uploaded it there. And keep an eye out for more classes because we're trying to stream classes at least once a week on Twitch, and then hopefully we're going to spread out. It's just me at the moment, so hopefully we're going to spread out to more people streaming classes on Twitch as well, because you will get bored of listening to my voice. So thank you very much for coming, guys. I will see you at the next class, and I'm going to drop off now. So thank you.